It's
All
not
right.
their fault. You know whose fault it is? Their
The
parents.
parents? Yeah. These young kids don't know what a payphone is.
I'm a data scientist now. I was actually coding something and I was running a model, and it actually took hours all day long for this model to run. And I'm like, this is how the internet used to be.
We had to wait until after 9 p.m.
Yeah.
because we only had a certain amount of hours on our cell phone.
Yeah.
But after 9 p.m.,
Not hours, minutes.
we talking about Gen Z and them not knowing about stuff that happened a decade prior. But you said you had a different take. But before I say anything, I need to hear what your take is.
It's not their fault.
Well, okay.
It's
All
not
right.
their fault. You know whose fault it is? Their
The
parents.
Yeah.
It's their parents' fault. Because how do you and I know Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Because our parents, didn't we go see them in concert?
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't want to
Okay.
go, by the way, Mom and Dad. I fought. Did not want to go. Actually had a good time. But not because of them. Had a good time because of the Gap Band. But yes, we know Earth, Wind, and Fire.
How do we know the Gap Band?
Well, it's not, I don't think our situation is parallel to a lot of people because
our
parents were-
father was a musician.
and our parents were so young. I mean, Mom is the one that told me who Jodeci was. We were riding in the car. It's 1991. We're riding in the car. Forever My Lady came on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is a great song. Who is this? She's like, oh, that's Jodeci. And in my mind, I'm like, why do you know who Jodeci is? I'm 11. Mom is 34.
Yeah.
Okay, she's 10 years younger than I am right now. She was
knows
young.
who Jodeci is.
She knows who Jodeci is. So we had young parents to introduce us to the 70s.
Yeah.
But we didn't know nothing about no 60s.
Now, you know what? Because I first started listening to stuff in the 60s, our grandparents.
Yeah.
Our grandparents. And then the Stevie Wonder at the Close of a Century album, it was like 4-disc album came out, and it started with him starting out in Motown as a child. And then the Jackson 5.
Jackson 5. I was in the Jackson 5 before anybody. Michael Jackson was out with Bad.
Yeah.
And we were living in Richmond at the time. So I'm 7 or 8 years old. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get to why I'm bringing this up. But Mom and Dad had all these old records.
Yeah.
And he was like, you like Michael Jackson? You need to listen to the Jacksons. I was like, who are the Jacksons?
Yeah.
Right? Who are the Jacksons? Because I knew about the Victory album, but I didn't know that they was really doing stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, here, listen to all these records. And he had all of their records after when they became the Jacksons and not the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, a record player, because this is around the time where records were still kind of around, but CDs were the new thing.
Yeah.
So records were still kind of being sold, but not really.
Yeah.
Okay. And I learned how to work a record player because Dad showed me how to work a record player, how to put it on the song that you want to listen to. Because it's not a button you could just push to.
No, you gotta count the lines.
You gotta count the lines.
There are little line breaks, and you count the lines. Okay, I'll need the third song, so go to the third line, and that's how you start the song.
That's how you start the song.
Yeah.
But yes, we had parents that were younger. I get what you're saying that the parents aren't showing the kids, but ladies and gentlemen, what are we talking about? So there is some viral videos going around, and I guess this would be Gen Alpha. I don't know where Gen Z ends and Gen Z Alpha begins, but Gen Z could still be a part of this as well because they don't recognize certain things. And there are parents talking to their kids, they're teenagers now, and they were like, they would ask them, hey, do you know what burning a CD is? And they would say things like, setting a CD on fire?
Yeah. So Gen Alpha is 2010 onward.
Okay, so these are Gen Alpha kids. Okay, so but Gen Z can still fall into that. So younger Gen Z people.
Yeah.
Don't know really what payphones are.
No.
Don't know what calling cards are.
No.
They would ask them, hey, do you know what a collect call is? No. They were flabbergasted.
Yeah.
And I was like,
unless they know somebody that's been locked up. Because you definitely still deal with collect calling
No, I think they got
from the
calling cards in jail now.
unfortunately, I know.
Okay.
So, yes, you still it's
Why
like
do they charge you for a collect call now?
you put you well, you put money on like an account
Yeah,
and they can call you. Yes.
right.
But it still gets you're getting a call from blah blah
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know. Yeah.
But no, a collect call was when somebody didn't have no money. You was at because we used to have payphones back in the day, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, yes.
And these young kids don't know what a payphone is. It's like when you got to buy your phone. No, a
No.
payphone are phones that were out in public that you
Yes.
had to have a quarter and later 35 cents. No, later it got to
It
50.
started as a dime, first of
That
all.
was before our time.
But it started as a dime. But our time, it was a quarter,
It
and
was a
then it
quarter.
did go up to like 35 cents after
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
And you would put some money in the little slot and you would dial your number. Now, if you didn't have no money, there was a certain system that you could use to
yeah,
call somebody and they had to accept the charges and those charges would be put on their phone bill.
yes.
Yeah. Long distance calls cost money back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
These kids also don't know the internet to them is so readily available and so fast.
Yeah, it's literally just you open the browser and you're on the internet. That is not how it used to be.
But we've talked about dial-up before, but
Yeah,
they don't understand the fact that the internet, you had to go to the computer to get to that was the only place that you could get the internet.
yeah, yeah.
There was no such thing as streaming because you can get
No.
the internet to your television now.
Yeah, your
It- the-
phone, your
your pho-
tablet, everything. You
every
can get the internet. No, you had to sit down at a desktop computer.
yeah, because
And again, I gotta explain what a desktop computer is.
no, these young kids know what a desktop is because they're using those for gaming systems.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yes, you had to sit at a desktop computer
Yeah.
and get onto the internet. It wasn't the internet's just always on and there and you just open the browser. No, you had to go to the internet. You had to get there. I don't know how else to describe it, but that's what it was. You had
They
to
don't
log
understand.
on.
They got songs now at the push of a button. Any
Yeah.
song they want at the push of a button. They don't
Yeah.
understand what it's like, even in the internet age, to try and download a song. Forget a whole album, a song.
One song.
Off
You're-
of Napster, LimeWire, Kazaa, and
Yeah.
you think you got the song. You
Yeah.
download it all night long, and it's
All
not the
night.
song, it's not the
Yep.
songs you wanted. Or you hear gangster grills, 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 grills. All through the song because it's from somebody's mixtape.
DJ Mac exclusive. And you'd be like, no.
I just want the song. They
I
don't
just
know
want
nothing
the
about that.
song.
They don't
I-
know. They
I
don't
had
know
to-
about. Oh, go ahead.
I had to relive that experience because I'm a data scientist now. I was actually coding something and I was running a model, and it actually took hours all day long for this model to run. And I'm like, this is how the internet used to be.
Mm-hmm.
This is how it used to be. This is how long things used to take on the internet. And I was flabbergasted that I actually had to wait more than like 5 minutes for something to render or for a model to run. And because even I've gotten used to how quick and accessible everything is. But it wasn't but what? 20 years ago, it really wasn't.
Look, Wi-Fi was barely a thing 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was barely a thing. It used to be that you only had internet at one computer
Yes.
for the entire house.
Because you're plugged in with your phone cord into the modem.
Right.
So it's on the internet exists only on that computer. It is not available to the entire household. You have to go. I don't understand. And there's no other way for me to describe. You had to go to the internet.
Look, another thing these kids don't get, I'm talking about Gen Alpha now, the
Yeah.
older Gen Alpha, these kids who are in high school now,
Yeah.
right? They don't know because they could just FaceTime their friend whenever they want to, anytime of the day, and they could talk for hours.
Yeah.
We had to wait until after 9 p.m.
Yeah.
because we only had a certain amount of hours on our cell phone.
Yeah.
But after 9 p.m.,
Not hours, minutes.
yes.
Our cell phone, it was in minutes. It wasn't like, oh, you get 6 hours free. No, you had 120 minutes if you got the cheap plan to talk, and then after that they started charging you per minute.
Yes. Astronomical prices.
Yes.
So you had to wait until after 9 when it was free. And don't call me before 9, because I had one of my boys used to always call me at like 8:45. I'm like, bro, just wait 15 minutes. And sometimes I'd forget. And I'm like, yo, we've been talking for 10 minutes. I'm using up my minutes, man. I call you back after 9.
Yeah.
Or
call my house phone. Don't call my cell phone before 9 p.m. If you gotta talk to me before 9 p.m., call my house phone.
Yep.
And a house phone is, kids, a stationary phone that exists in the house that was available to everyone in the house. Everyone shared the same phone number. And you had that phone there. And anybody could call it for anybody in the house.
Yes. One number for everybody.
For everybody.
Join the conversation and follow the Unsolicited Perspectives podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your audio podcasts.